Oh, I'm starting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
The Gossip Wine Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to season 3 of the Ghosty Wine Podcast. Hey Decory, what's up?
What's good? How have you been all this time off?
Bruh, like we talked about it yesterday, so I'm not gonna dive into it, but I'm gonna say, oh, my voice is out there. Ooh. Anyways, I'm gonna say that it's so good to be back. And I'm so excited for season 3. We already have so many episodes to come along with all the limited series. And if you guys new to the channel or the podcast, hit subscribe buttons, notification buttons, follow us on YouTube, RSS, Spotify, and Apple Podcast Musics. Anyways, we also have a very exciting part now. Besides, we like started TikTok. I'm millennial on TikTok, so we're not actually really good at it yet, but we'll get there. And we have one more exciting news. Decory, you share.
So now you can help us out with the show and donate through Patreon or PayPal. The links are in the description if you want, no pressure.
Yeah,
No
and I'm gonna
pressure.
put the video. I think like how you do it is super simple, and we would like to have you guys support since it's not profit podcast yet. You can help us to grow and have more exciting guests, and just support us if you feel like it. We will really, 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 really appreciate it. And now back to the point. So this is season 3. We have first episode, just 2 of us. What is the topic?
So the topic is basically like dating perspectives, like through the years,
Asian history.
So like yeah, ancient, yeah, like people's views that change on dating from when they were like 15 to where they are now. You
Right.
know, I feel like at a certain age you start thinking like, oh dang, this is like the perfect relationship. And then as you get older, you're like, nah, that's just some bullshit. It's not gonna actually go like that. It's always it's yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like to look through, like we're in our 30s now. Still, like sometimes you get used to it, but like, yo, we look snatch it. Like, anyways, yeah, if you look back in the day when I was like 15, I would say that was the first time when I like started dating, like, you know, more to the point of dating, not just like holding hands or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and look back into that, like it was completely different. And I would say it was kind of a little bit more simpler than now. And yeah, what about you? Do you remember yourself when you were like 15, like to 20? I don't know. When was the time you started dating though?
Like, I mean, I like earlier, I kind of thought like, like, oh, but I didn't, didn't understand the concept as much. Like, my thing was,
Well, we were like 15, 16. No one understood the whole idea of it. We're just like kind of like the person.
yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, this person's cool, this person's that. But my
Right.
thing was like, I always thought like, from what I seen from movies, like, oh man, I want the perfect girlfriend who's like, who just I come home, she's like loving me, like every time we're holding hands, and you
Okay,
know,
let's go
yeah,
into that. Okay, perfect girlfriend at 15 for
yeah,
Decory.
yeah.
Ta ta ta
So
ta.
perfect girlfriend
Drum roll,
at
whatever.
15, perfect girlfriend at 15 for me was like, okay, I'm with this girl. She's like super chill. We're at the beach, we're doing dates. Like she can talk to me about anything.
Hmm.
She tells me that like I'm the best for her and all this other like lovey-dovey shit, right?
Yeah,
And
ego
I'm
trip game. Well, we didn't know what ego
yeah,
was
and I'm
back then, but yeah.
yeah, I'm doing like all this stuff for her. Like, yo, I want to treat you like the princess, like they do in the Disney movies. That was my perspective of things.
Yeah, actually, you have a point
And
that we grew up to that. Like, we were taught by
yeah,
those like rom-coms of 90s of how to actually have the relationship. Like, these like great gestures, and blah, blah, blah. Hmm.
yeah, and
Interesting.
you know, yeah, and that's what I thought. Like, I'm like, oh man, this, and that. Like, she'll never cheat on me. Talk to me. Talk to other guys. like I was just like naive about a lot of things, and it's like, oh
Oh,
yeah, the
so
perfect relationship is it. And like as I got older, like my perspective shift. But 15, that's what it was like. Oh, I'm texting, calling on the phone all night. And my mom like, get off the phone. You wasting my
yeah.
minutes, you know, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, the bills were crucial. Like, I don't know how my parents didn't make me work for those bills. Like, because now I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay for my like data so much. I have Wi-Fi at home, so like, no, yeah, damn.
yeah, yeah. We didn't have no Wi-Fi back in the
Yeah,
day.
for
It's
Gen
like,
Zs, we didn't have Wi-Fi, we didn't have iPhones, Android, whatever, like not Android, Samsung, whatever phone. No, like home phone. That was the
yeah,
thing.
you had the home phone, and then if you wanted to get on the internet, you had to unplug the home phone for the internet.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember that.
And then like I thought that way until I got into like my senior year in high school.
Hmm. Okay, that was the time where your dreams broken up kind of a little bit, was it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
do tell.
My senior year in high school, I was about like 17. So I'm like, yo, these women are like crazy. It's like it's not what you think, you
You're
know.
welcome.
You laughing because I was like, it's not what you think, it's not all peaches and rainbows. And like they do have like different mindsets of you. So you have to like culture yourself around like, okay, I know everything's not gonna be perfect. I know everything's not gonna be like Disney fucking movies like I used to see. But now I have to
Right.
like think, okay, what can I do to keep this woman, interested in me, intrigued?
The funniest thing about that, the movies though, right, or Disney, because there, like before having this happy ending, right, you had to just go through one struggle, right, and then pretty much you're done for one struggle. Okay, now you're good, and then you go further. But like, yeah, that's not it, and that's is like crucial when you actually understand it on your own, and you just like, fuck.
Yeah,
What?
because it's like
Yeah,
it's
that
like
was a
you're getting hit with
lie.
adulthood.
All of it is a lie. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like you're getting hit with adulthood already. It's like, damn,
yeah.
all this shit that you see on TV is not real. Like you really have to work for this relationship. This shit's not gonna come like peaches and cream and rainbows, you know.
Mm, unfortunately, it's not happening. Yeah, that's kind of bullshit. What about like we talked about relationship, okay, but like what about sex wise? Obviously, we all had our like understanding of how it should be, because like again, everyone is kind of putting the idea through movies as well, where you have to be in a deep, like loving relationship to actually have your first time with, and then you kind of both have to be like virgins or whatever, well, like how it pictures, to have this like experience there. Like, did you have like any taboos or like anything like perspective wise that you thought was awesome or cool, and then either it's changed or their reality just hit you hard in the face again?
I really didn't I didn't think about sex like that much. Is weird, I'm like 15. I'm like, yo, I thought about it, but it's like when it happened, like when I lost my virginity and everything, it was like, okay, cool, this
Right.
happened. So I felt like, people have sex every day. Like realistically, people have sex every day, every hour. So obviously, like that was wrong. I mean, you can, but I mean, we have work now, we have responsibilities, you
Damn.
know. So like, I
Hmm.
don't think anything changed on that. Like, it's just like the fact that yeah, we have responsibilities and um that it is important in a relationship, because when you're not
Right.
having sex and you're having a relationship, like when you're younger, you learn the value of like just being with that person for what they are, not what they have to offer in between their legs or anything like that. So
Right.
that was like for me, the change is like, okay, now you actually have to put in this work, you know. You got to make sure your partner's satisfied and they make sure you satisfied and stuff like that. So
Right. So more work, not just
yeah,
love.
more work. Yeah,
Right.
more work.
Okay. It's like you're
Oh, I
already
was
like when you're 25, you're like mature, like ish, I think.
yeah,
And you
and
just
I was
like been there,
I
done
was at that point I was definitely in like one of the worst relationships I ever had. One of
Really?
them. Yeah. So
Why?
my perspective is like, it doesn't matter what you do for a person, they're always going to find a way to make you feel like shit and that you don't do enough.
Mm, yeah.
That was that was like big for that 25, 24 taught me a lot because it's like whatever you do for a person, it does not matter. They're always going to find somebody better than you or find something they don't like about you or be nitpicky about all this other stuff, right?
Okay, so that was basically the first time you had a broken heart. Is that it?
I wouldn't say it was the first time I had a broken heart, but I was already like jaded and getting molded into more like this, this hard rock because I'm like, okay, I've been brokenhearted before. And that was like in my early 20s.
Okay.
Like when the girl I dated from high school, she came to visit me and my homeboys, right? But to come to find out she was like a crazy, like total hoe, like super hoe. So it was funny, like to me, like I, it threw me off. I'm like, yo, why is she like this? I thought she was like this sweet girl. So I think my thing changed with the perspectives because she was not sweet. She was she was not sweet. She was like literally like in the streets. She was like the definition of for the streets.
Well, maybe
So
she
when I
discovered
got to
herself. She's like,
maybe, but I didn't know about
"Great
self
is me.
discovery.
I
Yeah, I didn't
create
know.
this." Like,
I
I don't
didn't I didn't know about self-discovery then. But then like, when I got to like 24, 25, I'm like, okay, yeah, I was in one of the worst relationships of my life. But I knew that how I wanted to play it, I'm like, okay, after this relationship, I'm not doing nothing stupid like that. I'm not fucking with nobody like this because it's
right.
dumb. But before we get into the later years and more of this, I want to ask you 15 for you. What was your perfect relationship?
15.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
bruh. Like, I would say definitely like some rom-coms, but like, see, I never wanted, because like growing up in Ukraine, we didn't have like a high school team, like players and whatever. We just had like, physical education classes all together, whatever. And we didn't have this like, a team captain, whatever, the most popular guy. We had like not bad looking guys, like high school guys.
Mhm.
And because I left school for college up to like mid school. So yeah, we're just like hanging out, and for me, perfect relationship was, I don't think I ever even had any. Well, my ideal perspective was like to find like the love of your life, date for a couple of years, live together and get married and have kids. Like
Yeah.
that was the ideal thing. However, realizing at that point that I was just 15 and that's going to be pretty much my life terrified me to the very core of a slightly, if anything would go farther than a kiss and a guy actually wanted to like seriously date me, I was ghosting him like right away. I was like, no, it's too serious, bye. So like let's say this guy is like waiting for like a month to like talk to me, then we eventually kissed, and then
Mhm.
the next day he kisses me, and the next day I'm like, I don't know you. It's
Too
moving
much.
too fast, too serious. Right away I was like, I cannot do this. However, I do remember the funniest thing that I remember like it was yesterday, which is hilarious because there were like a bunch of like bitches, like 15, 16 in the like ladies' bathroom in school during the break. And somehow, I don't know why, but like someone brought like blowjob, just like, what do you. And I remember I was like, no, just for the husband. Once, like in the like for his birthday and whatever. Little did I know.
Once
Bro,
for his
that was so
birthday, like that's
hilarious.
not enough.
We were just like, never. Blowjob, no. And then something goes wrong there. But it was hilarious though. I remember it. I just feel like I was saying, but like, yeah, things
that was
things swifted like
so
different way.
that
Like
was
I
15
mean, it's a
for
part of like life and experimenting and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But the funniest
So,
thing that I wanted to like kind of be in a relation, because this is what like we had, right? Like growing up, that's what we saw. That's like how my parents did. They were like dating for a while, then got married, got me, blah blah. My grandparents same way. So the whole perspective of movies, though, where a man kind of have to have his life together, blah blah blah, but woman's life is complete when she has a partner. This little like captain notices her, like Cinderella shit story, and I think this is where it puts a lot of pressure. So like whenever everything went like a slightly too even to a part where like it's could be dating eventually. I was like, like, no, nope, cannot do it. Nope, too serious, too
So,
serious. I was like, nah. Yeah, and
so
then
when did
I
that
ended up having a boyfriend.
oh, so okay, that was 15-year-old Aya's perspective. So like a few years later at 18, when you start like getting more, more knowledge into the dating world, what did you think?
Well, I was 17 when I started dating this dude for 3 years. So I
Was he
got
older than you or
free.
younger than you?
I got free jail out of jail card when I was 20. Like,
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
was he older than you or younger than you?
Huh?
Was he older than you or younger than you?
Oh yeah, he was older, like 3 years, not that much.
You said when you were 17?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's different for me. Like I every time, another thing that I'm gonna just throw out there, like I always seen like younger girls dating older guys, which is always weird to me. Like dude be like 15, girl be like 15, the guy's like 20. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so when you got your get out of jail free card, did your perspective change?
Well, like first I was like heartbroken because I literally prepared motherfucker because like I think like half a year later he got married. And I was like, where's my check? Bitch. But anyways, no, I just like I was like trying to, because I thought that was the love of my life, little bullshit, whatever. And then it got me like a year or so to realize like, hell no, I'm a free bird again. Like, what? So I moved to China. And things were like way different. Like when I was 25, I was already in China, feeling myself, feeling good. So and this is where I realized like I don't want to be like dating just to like date someone, just to have a boyfriend. I was like trying to look through people and like find this like pure like good connection within all the rubbish. But then dating sites kind of swooped them like my feet. I was like, okay, not happening. And that was the other weird perspective, that we got hung up in dating apps so much that we decided that that was which is actually a great tool to find people, but then it escalated to the point where it was like hookups only. So it was like, I don't know, I decided just like take it easy and live my life, and if that comes along, comes along. If not, no. I had a couple like broken hearts or whatever like on the way, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think the China was the time where we decided to well, I decided personally to try to figure out, like, I was establishing myself as a person, as a woman as well, because no one was supporting me. I was doing my thing on my own, like fucking far away from home, and that was it. I don't know, like I had different ideas, but they were like kind of shifting back and forth, because like one day I want to be like a bad bitch, the other day I'm kind of sad, I can have a boyfriend, but then I was like, no, I'd rather be a bad bitch. So that was like kind of in between, and that was the whole, I think, best possible way of 20s, like figuring out stuff. So I think that was it. And then eventually I got to this point where I'm like, I'm tired of that. I've been there, done there for like, all my 20s. So now I want to kind of like something like, again, interesting, like meaningful, I would say. And yeah, definitely, like, I wouldn't say like my standards were like super low and now they're like super high. I would say my standards were always like quite high, but obviously like we all make some mistakes. I would rather never ever saw that person again, like, obviously, but you live, you learn. So I think at this point, I want a lot of things, but so as I did back in the day. So I'm not gonna say like, oh my god, like my standards grew so bad, like so high. No, they were high. So because I didn't see the point of like dating just whatever dude just to date.
Just to date.
Yeah.
Okay. So
like 30s now.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the 30s now. Like now I see things like people, I don't like you, I feel like you shouldn't date now because I'm 30 now. Like I'm just looking at all the young people. Just don't date for no reason, you know. It's more like you want to date for a reason.
Yeah. I think a
Because
lot of people like just afraid to be alone. But this
yeah,
is the embracement where you have to go through that to understand, like, self-love comes within like spending time with yourself. Doesn't matter, like, do you have money or not, like you take yourself places or you just stay late in bed, and do things that you love. It's still like you have to learn to do both, like with or without money, to like love yourself and entertain yourself basically, and to be in peace with yourself, so then you won't have a need to, just like jump into like random
and
relationships. Precisely. Like something casual, like whatever, like, but don't feel like no one can fill the void hole inside of you but yourself, kind of thing. So anyways, I was saying I do find myself recently like just wanted to kind of I don't know, like have this masculine energy around,
mhm.
but not precisely for dating, like I do have a lot of like male friends, right, like all over the globe now, because bitches move around. So like I do like to like spend time, and have fun with dudes, like just my friends. So I like have this like feminine and masculine energy around, but like not precisely for dating or anything else, just like spend time, like it's cool. So I don't know if that makes sense and if it sounds weird, but yeah, that's what I found, because like, what dates, it's also getting like kind of boring because everyone also have their own baggage by the time they're 30. So so it's getting a little bit more complicated, but sometimes I wonder like whether it's actually complicated or we just make it more complicated, as a dumb as human beings, you know.
I think we probably make it more complicated than it has to be, if anything. You know,
Right.
it's like
Do you think it's because like kind of the pool is like bigger or like easier to find whatever, like cheating,
no,
talking, whatever?
I think because you're older, like you already been subject to like a lot of things, so you're like, you already know, like you get picky too. So it kind of gets hard because you get picky, you caught in your ways, like this is what I want, this is what I don't want, you know?
Right. But I always knew that though.
Well, yeah, when you're younger though, you're willing to let things like slide, you know? But now
Hmm.
that you're older,
Yeah.
you're kind of like, fuck that. Like, you know, it's one of
Mhm.
those things where you like now that you're dating, you want to build a future, you know, especially if it's somebody that you really love, you want to build that future with them. So you're gonna have your certain, this is a hard no and this is a hard yes, you know. So so
Mhm.
that's how I look at it. Like if you're dating now, and like I'm in my 30s, it's like I want to find that perfect relationship where, you know, it's not gonna be perfect per se. It's not gonna be like when I was 15, that Disney shit. It's gonna be a stable, healthy, mentally healthy,
Yeah.
financially healthy relationship.
I remember like I was falling for quite a few bad boys back in the day. And I'm like talking bad boys and I'm from bad neighborhoods. So it was like drug dealers, like some shady shit all the time. And then now I was like, hell no. I'm like, I'm too old for that. Not even like old. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, you know what? And for me, I used to always think like, oh, I love like sensitive women. And then I actually had a sensitive woman. I was like, fuck this. This is crazy.
No, no, no. There's a thin difference between sensitive and crazy. Okay? Like they're too different. The line is way too short.
Yeah, because you know, some people take that to the extreme. Like, you're like, I'm sensitive, but then they's like, no, they get really fucking psycho. They know you're just psycho. You're not sensitive. You're psycho.
Yeah.
But
And this is where, like I think we just learned like about self-love, and development, that confidence and like, peace within ourselves, where this toxicity is just like, bruh, it's like throwing me off, like, no. And like we all know now that basically when person is a psycho, it's not on you, it's actually on them. And like so they figure it out, like, or want to figure out, like, and need a help. You cannot do anything, you cannot change the person. I think that is the biggest flex that we learn throughout these like years, that we have this fantasy that love is so pure, the sacrifice is a big part of love, which is actually not. Yeah, and then we just, have a few bumps on the head with that, and then just like, nope, no, thank you, sir. Yeah. Huh, interesting. Okay, what do you think your perspective will be like in 10 years? We're gonna be, oh my God, I don't want to say that.
40. My thing is, like, you know what? I'm 40. If I have kids and all that, like my perfect relationship is with my family, making sure my family's good. My kids are growing and prospering, making sure me and my wife do have that healthy connection. That will be my ideal relationship. Us, raising these kids together, for another 10 years, and hopefully they get out the house so we can walk around butt naked and go travel.
That is the goal. But see,
That's the
like,
goal.
we're kind of coming back to like more mature, but like still Disney version of that,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
kind of have this like in between, but then we're still kind of coming back to this like pure feeling, because that's what like they sold us back in the day, pure feeling. And
Yeah.
nice.
Interesting as hell. I didn't even think about that until you said it. Like you go back and say, oh damn, now that I want this, it's the same thing. But that in between period is like those 20 years in between, you like
It's just like, okay, so this didn't work out the first time. Let me see what's out there, different scenarios, and then in the end it's like, fuck, no, I still want that. Yeah.
And I'm gonna put this out here. This is just our perspectives. It's not like everybody's perspective. Some people get married early and be having happy relationships.
Yeah. No, I like that's the thing, like this Asian Ayadikori dating perspectives, like, history lane for like 15 years now, with quick pit stops within. But it's interesting though. I see myself like two ways, like either, like having good relationship, fun kids. I need fun kids. Otherwise I'll be like bored as fuck. Or I'm gonna be like, little Carrie Bradshaw rich aunt kind of thing. So yeah, I can see two scenarios because I'm not sure how I'm gonna end up. So I'm going, okay, let me just have two equally good plans, and I'll be like, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. That was interesting, bro.
Yeah, it's really interesting. That's life,
Yeah.
Those
You guys, if you have any experiences of your own, like feel free to share it below in the comments. That is interesting because I think we all kind of have pretty much same idea of that, but then at the same time, we all had our like separate personal experiences that kind of, evolved into what we are now.
Yeah.
And for the Gen Zs, you'll learn later.
Yeah, you'll learn.
We'll talk in 10 years.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Anyways, let's do a wrap. And that was the Ghosted Wine podcast. Follow and like and share. And we are happy and glad to be back and still doing this thing, even with all the 38 subscribers on YouTube. We love you deeply, each of you.
Yeah. Reach out to us. Let us talk. And then like we said, we are doing the Patreon and the PayPal if you do want to donate to the channel so we can grow a little bit more. It's been rough, but hey, our 38 listeners, good. We still was number 18 in the country, so it's I still hold that to deep heart.
Yeah, we actually need to check the statistic, but anyways, like and follow for more, subscribe, and you know what to do. And that was the Ghosted Wine podcast, and that's a wrap.